Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
You can never have too many tools. Shop DeWalt deals at Lowe's. Get a free Select DeWalt 20-Volt Max Power Tool when you buy a Select 20-Volt Max 5-amp-hour battery kit. Plus, get a free additional DeWalt 20-Volt Max 8-amp-hour battery when you buy a DeWalt 10-inch 20-Volt Max dual-bevel compounded miter saw. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 6/24 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Hello, I'm Rob Constantine, and this is Paranormal Record. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Good to have you here. Thank you for listening. I was looking up stats on whether this podcast was a decent podcast and that I was doing okay for my first couple of years, and I'm doing very well. And all of that's thanks to you, listeners. I don't know what to say, and I'm I'm just humbled by your uh, attendance and your listening to the stories and enjoying this and what I do and what we do together, ladies and gentlemen. I I'm humbled and I really just appreciate you. So thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting the show. I have stickers. If you want a sticker, I'll send you one. All you got to do is email me at paranormalrecordpodcast@gmail.com. I'll send you a sticker. Give me your mailing address. I'll send you a sticker and nothing else. I'll even pay for the stamp. I'm not giving out your addresses, ladies and gentlemen, not to worry. I just want you to have a sticker for your cup or your laptop or whatever you put stickers on. I just want you to have a sticker. I had fun making them and I have a bunch. So if you want a sticker, get you one. All you gotta do, send me your mailing address and I'll get you one. Um, so so guys, check it out. I need guests. I'm always saying that. But it's true. I kind of run through the gambit of my friends and family, and I need guests. And I have some sources, and I go on to paranormal places, and I talk with paranormal people, and we have paranormal discussions. And then I say, hey, I have a podcast. Would you like to come and be on it? And they say, what? You have a podcast? And I say, yes, yes. And then I give them a sticker. Um, I'll give you a sticker if you want one. Thanks for listening, guys. I really appreciate it. So, all right. I'm going to do an episode that's just me and just you, listeners. Exciting, exciting. Um, okay. I'm going to talk to you about a place that I worked uh, 26 years ago. That's crazy. I started in this industry. I'm a karaoke host by trade, and I do weddings, and I do trivia, and just basically like bar entertainment. I have a cover band. We are Counterfeit Crows. We are Counting Crows tribute, uh, running 3 years now, and we play locally, and we're going to play in Virginia, and we played in Savannah. We want to play some more. Anyway, so check out Counterfeit Crows on YouTube. Sign up. You can become a counterfeiter today and join our mailing list at www.counterfeitcrows.com. Counterfeit is spelled at the end, F-E-I-T. It's a weird word. Don't let it throw you. But yeah, so that's my band, and then I have um, a karaoke entertainment business and trivia, and we do all that stuff. So, but I've been doing that for 26 years now. And in the beginning of all that, I the first year out, I was working for somebody else, and um, the first show I ever had, it's true, the first show I ever had was downtown at this bar on Crescent Street, and it's in Atlanta, and Crescent Street has a bunch of bars on it, and yeah, it was this little bar in this little house on Crescent Street, and that's what I'm going to tell you about today. Um, it was called the Boom Boom Room. I'm not. Yes, I know. It's funny. It's no, it is. It's funny. It was called the Boom Boom Room, and it was like, it was like a tiki bar. It was like a Hawaiian kind of. They had leis and brightly colored flowers everywhere, like plastic flowers and brightly colored leis everywhere, and like tiki torches outside and like Easter Island stuff and um, coconuts and straw hats. And it was a Hawaiian themed tiki bar, upstairs and downstairs. And upstairs, I had karaoke. I had to lug all my equipment upstairs. There was no working elevator that I can remember. I remember just maybe there was an elevator. Let me think. Maybe there was an elevator. I guess I remember having to lug stuff up the stairs and dreading it every week. So I don't think there was. If there was an elevator, it wasn't working when I worked there. How about that? So yeah, I don't think I remember an elevator. Anyway, um, Tiki Tiki Tiki, the Boom Boom Room, and we did karaoke there every week, and it was like my first show, 26 years ago. Now it is called Veranda, and I have reached out to the bar. They have not gotten back to me. So Veranda, if you're listening, this episode is all about your bar, and I'm just going to call it the Haunted House on Crescent Street, um, which is a lot of fun. Um and it's not hard to find. It's in Atlanta, and it's literally a house on this street of buildings in the middle of downtown Atlanta, two-story, two-story house, and it's a large house. It's a pretty big place. I think it was a boarding house at one point, and then somebody made it a bar or somebody made it a restaurant, and then it just went from there. But 26 years ago, it was the Boom Boom Room. Now it's Veranda. It was called Flip Flops for 10 years. I know that. Um, it was called Flip Flops for 10 years. So, and they just closed, and then Veranda opened maybe a couple of months after that, and now it's Veranda. So, there you go. Anyway, that's what this episode's all about. So, and these stories were told to me kind of secondhand, meaning that this is going to be an episode where I tell a story that somebody else told me. Um, just like Haunted Hollywood Hills Mansion, my pilot episode, that story was told to a friend of mine, and then I told it. This story was told directly to me. So I'm the second person in this chain uh, instead of the third. So it's a little clearer, I think, maybe. I don't know. A little bit less room for error, but it's been 26 years, and I've been telling these stories for 26 years. But I'm going to tell you the story tonight that I was told. Um, I don't remember the guy's name, and he was kind of, I would say, mid 30s, like late 30s maybe. Um, and he ran the place. He was like the GM. I don't remember his name. So, dear sir, I'm sorry I'm telling your story, but I don't remember your name. Uh, but he was the GM of the Boom Boom Room back in the day, and he was a very calm person. He was a calm presence. He was chill. He's not like really excitable. He was, I would say, um, like the demeanor of maybe a professor of math or engineering, like everything is numbers, not necessarily just excitable or just one that would be telling stories to impress people or telling stories to get attention. He didn't need attention. He was cool. He was just chill. He wasn't that kind of person. And he didn't talk a lot, but when the first couple months or that I worked there, I didn't talk to him very much. But one day I asked him if that old house that we worked in was haunted. And he kind of raised an eyebrow at me and he said, "You really want to know?" And I said, "Yeah, yeah, I really want to know. Yeah, yeah. Is the answer yes?" He said, "Yeah, yeah." And I tell you, I didn't necessarily believe in any of that stuff before I started working here, but I do now. I said, well, what happened? So he said, "Well, I think that everything kind of started because he had worked there for a while before anything happened, and um, but there's a mantle upstairs, and they were doing some work on the upstairs part of the house, and they moved the mantle off of the wall or back from the wall a little bit, like they took it out so they could kind of work under and the wall behind it, and behind some of the wood that they removed there was a lot of dust and trash and some stuff that had kind of been just kind of back there behind all that stuff in the wall, if you will. And there was a photograph. And the workmen said, "Hey, we found this photograph behind the mantle." And he was like, "Okay, oh, that's cool." And he had it and he kept it. He said it was a photograph of a little boy and his mom. And then the boom boom room, like the house, was behind them in the shot, and they were standing on Crescent Street, and the house was behind them, and they were posing with the house, and they were like, you know, black and white, of course, and an old picture. Um, so he kept it. He was like, "Oh, that's cool," and he put it in his office and didn't think much more about it. But he would tell people, "Hey, we found this picture of, I guess this kid and his mom lived here at one point." So uh, at the end of the day, he would go upstairs, and there was, he had his like laptop and stuff, but he also had all the paperwork and stuff, and he would work everything out and kind of spread all of the paperwork he had to do and stuff that he had to write and add up numbers and stuff. And he would kind of do all that paperwork at the end of the day on that upstairs bar, um, and he kind of spread everything out, and he would be upstairs. And this is after everyone's left and done cleaning up and kitchen's closed, everybody's gone, and he's just him. And he said it was nice that he said it that he felt very peaceful and surrounded by lots of people, but it's a little house in the middle of a big city compared to all the buildings around it. It's a big house actually, but it's compared to everything around it, it's small. But he said that he felt alone, but not ever too alone because the city was around him. But he said that it was enough space to give him peace of mind that I'm alone in this big old house, and all right, and Atlanta has like a bunch of homeless people and just kind of, I mean, it's the middle of downtown Atlanta. He's there late, but he said that he felt safe. He locked the door, and then he just never had any issues. Like nobody ever like broke in, and nobody ever like approached him or anything when he was walking to his car at night. He didn't have any problems. So, but he said he was aware that he was alone in this big house in the middle of this big city. I thought that was interesting. Um, but so he's at the desk. I'm sorry, not at the desk, but he's at the bar and he's working on paperwork and stuff. And this is something he does at the end of every shift. And he said that there was a private room, private party in the room off to the side, and they had stacked all of those, those tables that they set up like church tables, like I call them church tables, or bake sale tables, but they're metal, and the legs come out the bottom, and then you they go prong, and then you put the little lock down, and then you stand the table up. So there was like a stack of those tables that were waiting for the catering company to come back and get them because somebody rented the private room and rented all these tables and chairs, and they were waiting for them to come back and haul them back downstairs and take them away. But there were stacks of them in the other room, and he said that he was working, and uh, out of the corner of his eye, he said one of the tables, like top three tables of a stack of like six on the ground, just were sliding, like taking the whole table, stack of three, which is not light when there are three of them, and they were just like moving them, like they were gonna fall off the stack. And he said, "Okay, all right." And he turned around and he faced the room and he said, "Okay, so you're here, and okay, but I don't want to pick that stuff up. If you would please not knock them off the stack. I see you, I hear you, I acknowledge you, and I don't need you to get my attention. I see you. I don't want to pick all that stuff up, so please stop." And they did. That was it. But he said it was a series of three definite shh, and then a couple minutes. I mean, it was moving. It was moving. It was being pushed. So, um, now he had an office downstairs, and in this office was an old TV. Now this was an old television with the knobs and the tun tun tun, and then they had two knobs. Right, the top was like 1 through 69 channels, right, and then the bottom was like, I don't know, 1 through 13, 1 through 12, and then you could there were local stations you two, and then that would pick up this. Y'all, this was a long time ago, and those old TVs didn't necessarily pick up stuff anymore because everything had kind of gone to cable TV. But Superstation, Channel 17, where the Braves was a local station, Channel 36 was a local station. Those would show up, and with rabbit ears, you could pick those up still. And so he had that TV down there, and he watched the Braves game and stuff. But it didn't really pick up that much more because, again, it was rabbit ears when everything had kind of gone coax, and you could only pick up local stuff and watch it with the rabbit ears. Um, but to change the channel, you had to go and turn that knob to change the channel. And he would just leave it on. The game would be on, and he'd be there by himself, and he'd be walking around doing his stuff and closing down all the stuff after everybody left, and just kind of doing his GM duties. And he'd have the Braves game on downstairs while he was in the office, and he would walk out. And he said when he came back, the television, that knob, and it was on static. And the only way for that to happen is for somebody to physically move those dials. And he said, all right, again, he confronted it. He's like, okay. Happened 2 or 3 times. And he was like, all right, hey, quit messing with my Braves game. I'm trying to watch the game. I see you. I see you. I acknowledge you. You're here. Okay. Quit messing with my TV. But it would mess with his TV still every once in a while, he said, and it was just happening. So this table pushing, TV changing something was definitely um, making its presence known in that house, um, in the boom boom room. But he said he never saw anything, and he wasn't really looking for anything. He said he didn't necessarily want to see anything. It scared him. Um, but the last thing in the last story he told me, and scared him very much. And So he was he locked everything up, put all his stuff away, turned the TV off, I guess, downstairs, and he was walking out. He had all of his stuff in his hands and his got his briefcase and his laptop and all the things, and he's walking out. And there was an alarm system back then, and the alarm system, you would set it and then you'd leave, and they're all motion sensors. So you'd leave, and there would be a time period for you to leave and get out the door and lock it behind you so that the sensors wouldn't go off, and call the police. Um, and he went to leave like he always did, and he turned to lock the door, and the alarm wouldn't set. It would blink, and it said the motion sensors were picking something up. And he's like, "What? There's nobody here. This thing is bugging." And he did it. He did it. He did it. He tried to do it, and then it tripped. So the alarm company called, and he's like, "Oh, all right." Goes back inside, shuts the door, and goes in, um, picks the phone up, and he's like, "Yeah, no, it's okay. There's no emergency." Gave him the password. And he said, "I'm just trying to leave and this thing doesn't work." And the alarm company said, "Hello, sir." And he's like, "Yeah, oh, hello." And they're like, "Yes, sir. Well, we're just, there's no malfunction in the system, sir, and we're detecting movement." And he's like, "Well, no, I do this every day, and set the thing and I walk out the door like I do. I know what I'm doing. I've been using the system and nothing's, it's been buggy. And I know." And she's like, "Oh, well, did you forget something?" And he's like, "What are you talking about?" And I didn't forget anything. And she's like, "Well, what about your child, sir?" And his blood just ran cold. And he said, "I don't have any kids. I don't know what you're talking about. There's no kids here." And she's like, "Well, there's something upstairs in that upper room, uh, and then it's a couple of, it's about as tall as a kid. Are you sure, sir? Did you forget your kid?" He's like, "There's no kid here." And she's like, "Okay, sir. Well, the alarm's working fine." He's like, "Okay, thank you very much." He hung up the phone, and he locked the door, and the alarm was not set that night. That was it. He got the hell out of there. And that was the end of it. That was the end. That's the end of the story. I After he told me that story, I said, "Well, what else?" And he said, "No, that's just the thing. Like nothing else happened after that. It was it all started very suddenly, and then it was very active, and then stuff happened, and then it just stopped. That's the last thing that happened to it." And he said it's been quiet. It's been quiet for a long time. And it was kind of a weird thing with that job. They canceled my show, and then maybe like 2 or 3 weeks later, the restaurant shut down. But they did cancel my show first, which is, they didn't explain it. They were just like, "Thank you, you were great, we loved it, it was great. We're just trying to save money." But restaurants come and go, and that's just par for the course, really. But I never saw the guy again. Like the night that he told me that final story, and then that all that stuff had happened, I never saw him again. There was another manager that came in and covered stuff sometimes when I was there late. He wasn't always there. Um, but I never got anything else. But that he said that nothing really happened after that, that it just stopped. Everything stopped. And then it was just quiet. Like nothing paranormal had ever happened. It just all stopped one day, which is nuts. It's just as crazy as everything else. I didn't know that I would never get to talk to him again, or get to ask him questions again. I thought I'd have a job and that everything would just continue, but you never know with those places. You never know with the restaurants. It's kind of a crazy industry to be involved with. That's how quick things go. Um, but that's the story. So that's the story of the house on Crescent Street. I have one more story for you today. Aunt Louisa has made a return to the show, and I have one more little bit to cover today. She has one more tale for us, and I saw her recently, and she told me, "Oh, guess what happened? I saw another ghost." And I'm like, "We got to tell the Paranormal Nation. You got to come back on the show." And she said, "Okay." So she did. Here's Aunt Louisa.
Hey, Aunt Louise, are you
Hey,
there? Yeah.
I am. How are you?
Oh man, this is a treat. I know that people have been asking when you were going to come back to the show, and I said, well, when she has some more stories to tell, or I'll get her back on here. She'll come if I ask her to. Um, but my dad got married, and
Yes,
recently, and
we
I
were there.
got to see you and Uncle John, and that was great.
Yeah.
And you had a story for me at the reception. I said, we got to get this for the folks at home. We got to get this for the Paranormal Nation, and they've got to hear the latest story that you have. So, so here you are again. The floor is yours, and tell us your latest paranormal experience, Aunt Louisa.
Well, this is the latest one I've had. I have seen ghosts before, um, and had a lot of psychic experience and stuff like that.
Right.
Sometimes it scares me, but this particular time, my husband and I were talking with our daughter on a Zoom call, and she was at her boyfriend's place, and we just were chatting about everything, just regular. And all of a sudden, I saw a young woman walking across the room behind my daughter, our daughter. And I said, "Who is that?" Um, and because our daughter didn't know what I was talking about, I said that there is a young woman walking right behind you. And I said, "Who is she?" And a voice came to me that was my daughter's voice that said, "Her name is Annie." Um, and then she just walked off the screen. But I saw her. She was a regular, that she was alive. She was just walking out. She was quite attractive looking young woman, and I only saw her from the side. Um, but that was it. It was very strange. My husband, who was watching the screen at the same time I was, did not see her. Our daughter didn't see her. And she said, "I don't know anything about an Annie." Well, that's her name. I have tried to do research to find out uh, if there was an Annie, a ghost Annie, in the town my daughter lives. And so far, I've not had any luck with it. But she was very real to me.
Yeah.
Um, very real.
And
Yeah.
she was standing there the whole time you guys were talking about whether she was there or not, and then she walked off frame.
No, she walked through frame.
She walked through the frame
And then she was gone.
and then she was gone.
She
Yes.
didn't walk back through or anything. It's just she walked through, there she was, and
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
and you were like, "Who's that girl?" And your daughter was like, my cousin was like, what girl? And Uncle
Yeah.
John was like, what girl? And you're like, the
Yeah.
girl, she's in the background. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's insane. That's crazy. This was in broad daylight too. This is like late,
Oh,
early
yeah.
evening. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is at her boyfriend's house, but
Yes.
no one was there with her.
No.
And and
No.
it didn't come through the audio. It was in your head
It
that she
came.
said, "My
I
name is
heard.
Annie."
I heard it in my right ear. Her name
In
is
your
Annie.
yeah, in your place, not over the audio. Uncle John didn't hear anybody say
No,
that.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
He heard nothing. Her name is Annie. Is what in my daughter's voice it said. Her
Right.
name is Annie. Yes,
Her name or my name?
her name is
Yep.
Annie.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, it's
Wow. Wild. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. One more story for the vaults from Aunt Louisa. Uh, that's that's a that's a that's a good one.
oh yeah,
Wild. And Uncle John was there for that one.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Thank you so much for coming back to the show
You're
and
welcome.
telling us more experiences. People really enjoy your story, as do I. And again, my interest in the paranormal started when I was very young. And then I was very fascinated with your witch on the mantle story, which was
Oh yeah,
such a cool
that's
story.
another one. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, Aunt Louisa, thank you so much for joining us today and
You're
coming back and telling us some more stories.
all right. I'll call you the next time I have an experience
You
that
bet.
is paranormal.
You bet. We want to hear it. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
All
Take
right. You're
care.
welcome.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.
All right. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you had a fun time. That's probably one of the shortest episodes I've ever made. But there you go. The haunted house on Crescent Street and the return of Aunt Louisa. I hope you enjoy it. And hopefully we'll get Aunt Louisa again and she could tell us some more stuff. She'll remember some more stuff. It'll come along. Or something else will happen. She's doing her thing over there up in California. So she's rocking and rolling. So she might have some more stuff happen, and then she'll give us a call, she said. So that's exciting. We look forward to that. Uh, Thanks, everybody. If you if you actually work at that bar or want to reach out, please email me at paranormalrecordpodcast@gmail.com. If you've ever worked at that house on Crescent Street and had an experience, please tell me about it. I'd love to hear more about that space. Um, yeah, that would be cool. And if you're a Crescent or if you're a Veranda, reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Somebody tell Veranda I made a whole show about their restaurant. I look forward to hearing from them. All right, everybody, thanks for listening. I appreciate it. I'll see you next time. Good night.